Fake auction clearance rates exposed. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian Heise here, and welcome to another episode of Heise Says. I have my afternoon stein of coffee, and I thought we'd finish the day by having a look at this article that I've written on the Heise Says blog. Fake auction clearance rates exposed. What's happened is, I've done several videos about auction clearance rates. In the past, I did videos just reviewing them, and then I did ones looking at the rates and questioning how accurate they were. Now, there seemed to be a whole lot of unconfirmed results that were simply ignored, and with my experience and friends who are real estate agents, I tended to, guess that those that are gregarious people wouldn't be holding back if they were successful. So I thought that the rate would be underreported with regards to passed in or withdrawn auctions. And I also did another video where, when they were revised, looking at suggestions to have a worst case and a best case scenario as a way of dealing with this. And in this video I put a call out to viewers asking for their help to provide this data so we could cross-check ourselves to see what the actual auction clearance rates is. And several people got back to me with different data, different pieces of information. But the team at Fresh Canvas, on their own initiative, sent me this data for a particular day in Sydney, because frankly I think they're interested in it too, and what's going on in the property market there, because we all are. To be honest, we all are, particularly if you live in Sydney. So he sent me the data that I'm giving to all of you as well. You're allowed to share it, just don't sell it to anyone. So we can go through the data and get an understanding of what is happening here with the auction clearance rates, and you can check all the claims that I'm putting forward. But I've also actually written a piece to get a bit more exposure for what's going here, because I know a lot of people will watch it on YouTube and a lot of people prefer the written form. So if you'll bear with me, let's read this article by Heise Says. So auction clearance rates dominate the property and real estate news. Claims of soaring clearance rates are whipping the media and property pundits into FOMO, fear of missing out frenzy. The public is being encouraged to cast doubt to the winds and get into the market because the boom is back, baby. The boom is back. Can you tell I've been watching some Seinfeld recently? Published by Domain, who sourced their data from CoreLogic, realestate.com.au, who sourced it from REA Group. Auction clearance rates are influential in the decision-making process of both buyers and sellers in the housing market. Anecdotally, one might be dissuaded from proceeding with an auction and the associated additional cost if clearance rates were particularly low. I'm putting that in there because, well, maybe there's a reason why these advertising websites 58% is very high, like having higher rates. So we're encouraged to have auctions, an anonymous real estate source has informed us. Industry sources who wish to remain anonymous have shared that they feel pressured to encourage their clients to pursue an auction and are often at the whim of the online advertising and data providers. It appears many real estate agents are frustrated with the duopoly that has emerged in the real estate advertising industry. I've had friends in the past who tried to crack into this industry, particularly with Sell by Yourself, which I doubt they've had much success. Several other anonymous tips from a frustrated member of the property industry prompted us to examine the methodology behind the auction clearance rates. I've had several people ring me up with the same stories and the same concerns. This is something that is, a lot of people are frustrated, particularly people who know the industry. And this resulted in Faking Auction Clearance Rates video, which was based on data from the 2nd of November and published on the 6th of November. So that was the first video that I did on this. And here you can see I've got all the different definitions for people who are not familiar with the terms of what a clearance rate is, the total auctions, confirmed rates, and I've added one in here, unconfirmed results, which is not actually mentioned on either the Domain or the realestate.com.au auction pages or the definition section of their explanation. But that's a very important thing to consider in all of this. So looking at the data, it was found that Domain was ignoring unconfirmed results and assuming that the percentage established with their limited data set would be consistent with all of their data. While it is reasonable to continue a trend in data when information is missing, from a data analysis perspective, it ignores the bias for underreporting. Underreporting of negative news by real estate agents and other parties involved potentially leads to an inflated auction clearance rate, or two inflated auction clearance rate figures. I wrote it myself and I'm stuffing up the reading. That's part of my charm. We'll just say that. So, understandably, sellers would rather not have their property identified as having failed to sell at auction due to the potential for negative market perceptions. So, yes, it's understated, but consistently understated so the trend is sound. Now, this was a comment left on the YouTube videos attributed to a C-level executive at Domain, and that's unconfirmed, but, well, it makes sense. Because I would be shocked that they would not be aware of what's going on here. It just feels like there may be, there's what financial incentive is there for them to be accurate and methodical in reporting this? Let me know if you think of one. Our simple analysis based on the data publicly available from the Domain website found that the auction clearance rate might be as low as 55% rather than the 75% advertised on the Domain site. This shocked some viewers who reached out to their contacts at Domain, who have been unconfirmed to saying, yes, it's understated, but consistently understated so the trend is sound. This is consistent with the contention that Domain is using data and statistical analysis techniques without consideration or concern for the persuasive influence of their data. And this is a point I made where I was drawing upon some of the work of Cialdini, like persuasion and influence. People are making financial decisions based on this data. People are deciding whether to take on the extra burden of going to an auction based on this data, on whether to accept an offer or to wait based on this data. On the 7th of November 2019, Domain revised their clearance rate based on updated confirmed results, but still assumed that the unconfirmed results were consistent with the newly revised data. This is even though, well, it went down to 74%. So even though there's evidence of a underreporting bias in their own data. And they should have all of that. They should have enough historical data that they could accurately predict based on the initial results where the final outcome would be. They would have to be able to determine that. Statistically at least. So there's an 80% probability that this, based on a 74% with this market confidence, this response rate, it will sit at this point. But no one likes maths. The revised auction clearance rate, now lower, was given little notice as the media prepared for another weekend of auctions and real estate advertising. It really, have you ever seen the media jump on auction clearance rates lower? Following on from this adjustment, we reviewed the data and argued that Domain should provide worst case and best case percentages with any data they publish to provide the public with an appreciation of the potential variation in the rate as shown by the table below. And that was in that video, and you can see here, this is what I would argue for, that they need to show. If ever they present data like this, they need to show the range, guys. Because people need to know it's not rock solid. There's still left 141 unconfirmed auction results, which Domain should have been able to resolve, particularly if the same property based on the address had been listed for normal sale following the scheduled auction, maybe if it's relisted. This left the potential for many properties that should have been recorded as passed in simply being left as unconfirmed, and the inflated auction clearance rate left unrevised. So, while Domain provides the list for all of the sold, withdrawn, or passed in properties in conjunction with the auction clearance rates, they do not provide listings of the unconfirmed properties. You can see that here. This is a screenshot from their website, and you can go to it, guys. And none of the unconfirmed ones are here. And this was the thing, you couldn't check and get the address. Oh, that's unconfirmed. Oh, look, it's appeared under a different agent, listed again. Essentially making it difficult for anyone to easily check the actual clearance rates. To address this discrepancy in the auction clearance, a call was made to viewers of Heise Says for help sourcing data for all planned auctions. With this data, it would be easier to identify the unconfirmed property. And here we are exposing the data. So Keith Almeida, sorry mate, from Fresh Canvas contacted Heise says and provided the data and their analysis of the auction clearance rates for the 16th of November 2019. Fresh Canvas used a simple 3-step method to determine the actual auction clearance rates. Well, this is me explaining the methodology in 3 steps for all of you. It probably isn't that simple for them, but you'll understand. So step 1. So it involved capturing the details of every auction on the Friday before the auction day, giving us the total auctions. This is necessary to capture the address data so any unconfirmed properties could be checked following the auctions. So what I will do is I will bring up, I'll show you here, we can jump, and you can see, and you'll be able to download this Excel file. This is the example of the data that they managed to capture. What do they have here? So the type, the address, beds, everything. Even the agents. Shows you. And they did this by pulling it off the website there. It's all publicly available. So step 2 involved capturing the auction clearance rate results published by Domain and identifying any unconfirmed results based on the data gathered in one step. The process of elimination was necessary to determine the unlisted properties. So this is the second step where they captured the results. And we'll jump back over here. We'll jump back over here. Follow-up data. Oh no, here. This is the preliminary data. This is what they got first. Then this is the results they got. Sold prior to auction, sold, withdrawn, sold. And then they determined which ones were unlisted. This is the third step. And we'll jump over here. Step 3 involved analyzing the data to attempt to confirm the outcome of any properties with unconfirmed results. This involved checking if the property was back on the market the following week and if it should have been considered passed in. The auction clearance rate as advertised by Domain at 77% is based on the confirmed data that they make easily available as demonstrated in the table below. So this is what they provide. In the worst case could be 40. Following an analysis of the data by Fresh Canvas, a revised and significantly reduced auction clearance rates for 61% as opposed to 71% was discovered. Oops, that's 77. I'll change that in the article. So you can see that discrepancy. Just think from a psychological perspective. If you saw 60% as a clearance rate at a 6 or a 7, you're thinking, oh, bugger, there's a 40% chance it won't sell. Oh, there's only a 3 out of 10 chance it won't sell. I'll take the punt. Oh, 4, that's close to half. No, I won't. That's how we think, guys. We don't think in statistics. So, a sample of some of the unconfirmed properties that were cross-checked for relisting at a later date clearly demonstrates that Domain has access to the information necessary to provide an accurate auction clearance rate. Yet Domain have chosen not to check this information and make it very difficult for any interested party to easily confirm their data. Here's an example. Unconfirmed, relisted for sale. You can check these ones out. And this is the thing. It is difficult to do this. Not everyone has the skills to get this data. Not everyone has the skills to get it. You can go and manually copy and paste. You can get a computer program to just pull it down, but it's not easy to do. It's a lot of work. And because it's changing every week, now, who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? Well, Fresh Canvas did. Fresh Canvas has provided a copy of the data in a compressed Excel file for everyone to explore and review. Please download the file here and check the data for yourself to understand how easy it would be for Domain to provide accurate data. It is concerning that Domain has not accurately updated their auction clearance rates to include the cross-checked unconfirmed results, particularly because they can easily identify a property that has previously been presented for auctions because, well, if the agent changes, if everything changes, the address doesn't change. They've got it in their system. They could do it, guys. Wouldn't be hard. Given the current state of the economy and waning consumer confidence, it's clear that any over-reporting of the auction clearance rate would have a significant impact on the real estate sector. Come on, guys. I can make that claim. Let me know in the comments if you agree with that one. Based on the information we've received, repeated phone tips, and conflicting information in the news, we would recommend people remain extremely skeptical of any claims based on high auction clearance rates. Don't let FOMO get to you. Don't be skeptical about all of this stuff, guys. Be skeptical about all of it. So yes, I'd like to once again thank the team at Fresh Canvas for helping get the data. I will link to their website. You can see, you know, they do AI bots, data analysis, visualization, actuary analysis, data scraping, process automation. And the team are just a bunch of cameras now. They're still working on it. But I would like to thank them for taking the effort to sending me this data and helping us expose what's going on here. I'd encourage you all to have a look. Please share this video with your friends. Share the article that I've written with your friends. Get it out there. The more people that can be made aware of this, the more pressure we can put on these organizations to be, let's say, a little bit more methodical with their information, or to clearly state that there is a potential range. I think that's what we need to start seeing. Because then if the media starts writing the auction clearance rates of 70% with a lower band of 40 and upper band of 90, maybe we need to have more of a conversation regarding the bragging rate of our real estate agents. How many of them are reporting the data by themselves? How many of them need to be chased up? Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. Get this video far and wide, because people are making decisions on this stuff. And thank you all for joining me. If you like my content and want to help me produce more, I have a Patreon where you can make a small monthly donation. It all goes into helping us put together the channel. We also have Amazon and eBay affiliate links where if you make a purchase, we receive a commission. It doesn't cost you a cent. It's a great way for you to support a creator if you're using those services anyway. And we have merchandise that Heise says, handmade, pocket squares, and then PayPal and Ethereum if you want to make a donation that way. Thank you all very much, guys. Have a great day, and I will see you later. Bye for now.